Hello, beautiful people of the internet. It's your girl, Sam, the closest to Aubrey Plaza you're ever gonna meet. And I'm here. This video is for the noobs, right? So if you're thinking about getting into retro gaming or maybe want to dig out some of your old stuff out of the closet and don't really know where to start, this video is for you. So I'm gonna go over the most frequently asked questions in the store from people who are just getting back into this. So let's start with probably one of the, the biggest ones is, can I play my old consoles on a new TV? And there are several ways to do that. So the first being probably, maybe the most obvious one, AV to HDMI converter. So, did that focus? So, a lot of new TVs don't have AV ports anymore. So you just take your, your red, yellow, white standard cables that come with most consoles made between the year of 1992 and 2006, I guess. You'll plug them in here, plug in an HDMI cable here into your TV, and boom, it works. It doesn't do anything as far as upscaling. It's just going to convert it so it'll play. If you want to make it look better on a newer TV, you're going to have to get like a RetroTink or something like that, which those, they'll make it look better on a modern TV, but it is going to be expensive. I'm talking like, minimum of at least $100. I'm pretty sure the RetroTinks are more than that. I don't know off the top of my head, but that's an option too, if you don't mind dropping the money. Another option is you can just get I don't know. You can use an RF cable. I'm not going to dig one out of the box right now, but the one that screws into the back where the cable used to go back in the days where we had to do that. They make converters for those for a lot of old consoles. They're usually dirt cheap and it'll work because most modern TVs still have the RF port on the back. It's not going to look the best, but it'll work. Another option, if your TV only has the component cable ports, which, it's your red and white, and then red, blue, green. It's a little bit better of a picture than the composite. A lot of the newer TVs only have these type of ports, but you can use a regular composite cable on those. Usually there's a setting in your TV that you can swap. I'm pretty sure you have to plug the yellow cable into the green port, I want to say. That's an option too. Lastly, if you don't already have a console and you don't care, you just want to play the cartridges and you want to play the original, we've got these, right? So they make a lot of clone consoles, and this natively uses HDMI. There's an option to use just regular AV cables as well on it, but it plays Super Nintendo, Genesis, and NES. Only $80 too, so is an option if you just want to play your old games and you don't necessarily care to have an original Super Nintendo, NES, or Genesis. This is a good option too, because it plugs right into a new TV. Usually on the clone consoles, you can use, like, if you wanted to use a Super Nintendo branded controller, you could, because there's different ports for the different consoles. So that's an option too. It's not always people's first choice, because, a lot of people come wanting the nostalgia of getting to do an actual NES or, a Super or Genesis or whatever, but it's an option, and it's, a relatively cheap one too. So that's a thing. All right, so another question I get a lot is, people find their games in their attic or, whatever, haven't been touched in 20 years. And they're like, hey, I can get some of my games to work, but a lot of them are just giving me a black screen, or giving me kind of a garbled up image. So usually your games are just dirty. You're going to pop one in. Oh, wow, it doesn't work. Blank screen. But hold up. Take that out. Now remember, back in the day, we used to, just take your cartridges and just blow them. Done are those days, okay? We're done doing that. We're not doing that anymore. You got 30 years of child spit built up in here from doing that. So here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna take some 91% rubbing alcohol. The higher the percentage, the better. You can use the 70, but it's not ideal. Take a Q-tip, and then just scrub it. Scrub it to death. You know, a lot of people are afraid to do this because the back of the cartridge says, you know, no alcohol. You know what's in the Nintendo cleaning kits? It's freaking rubbing alcohol. They just want to sell you on those. So, you know, we gave it a good scrub. Pop that guy back in there. Wow, it works. Not to say that the cartridges don't die, because they definitely do. It does happen, but I would say more times than not when people's stuff doesn't work, it's because it's dirty. So clean your cartridges, especially if they've been sitting in the attic for the last 15, 20 years. Or, you know, even if it's been 1 year, just clean your carts before you play them. It's a good, kind of a good rule of thumb. While we're talking about NES games, another big question. Can I play Duck Hunt on a modern TV? No, you cannot. So the refresh rate on the TVs is too quick in a modern TV, so it won't pick up the gun where it reads the light. So your options for that are either get an old TV, which your games are going to look the best if you play it on a CRT. However, not everyone wants to have a big clunky thing in their house. They don't have room, or they don't want a dedicated TV just to play NES games. I get it. There is also, Hyperkin makes a gun that you can use on the modern TVs. I'm pretty sure it only works with Duck Hunt though. Like you can't do Gumshoe or any of the other NES light gun games. But that is an option. Otherwise, you're gonna have to get a CRT. That's just it. If you want to play some light gun games on a modern TV, Time Crisis on the PS3 uses sensors that you can use on a newer TV. And otherwise, you're gonna probably have to get a Wii. You know, there's a lot of good Wii games that you just use the gun and the sensor bar, which you can use on any TV. I think there's some PlayStation Move games too. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100%, but that's kind of your only options for playing light gun games in the modern era. I'm sure there's some emulators or stuff that you can do, but I don't know about all that. So, you know, before y'all at me in the comments about that, that's probably a thing, but I don't know. I don't do emulators, so I don't sell them anyway. Like, you know, whatever. So yeah, that's the thing. Buy a CRT or don't. All right, another frequently asked question I get. So, a lot of times people have trouble charging their Game Boy Advance SPs. This is my tester. You know, do not sell ever. It's Joe's childhood one, but anyway, a lot of times, you know, try a new charger first, which usually, you know, it's the first step we take. And if that doesn't work, you might need a new battery. So this little piece on the back, you just take that screw out and pop a new battery in there, and that will usually take care of the problem. I mean, sometimes you do need a new charge port, or there's something internally really wrong with it, but a good chunk of the time, you just need a new battery. Same thing with PSP. The PSP batteries are notorious for just swelling up and just totally dying. These things get huge. This one has a new one in it, but it's a common issue, you know. $10 battery. You can replace that super duper easy. All right, my last thing on the things that I can think of in the immediate, people often have Game Boy games that no longer have a save file on them. And the way to fix that, I mean, you can't get your save file back. Like once it's gone, unfortunately, which is sad. But if you want to be able to save again, old games, Game Boy games in particular, used a save battery to hold the save onto your card. Once that battery dies, the save goes away. So in order to, you know, if the battery's dead, you can't make a new save file. It won't save. It just doesn't work. So what you can do is just, you see, it's just two little solder points here. Take off the old battery, solder on a new one, and you can start a new save file. And you know, your Game Boy will last. Your Game Boy game will last as long as the battery does. So that's a thing. A lot of people don't know that, you know, there's just a little battery in there. And they stopped doing that, I think, in like the Game Boy Advance era. So there are some Game Boy Advance games that still use the battery to hold the saves, but you know, a lot of the later ones you can just save to the cartridge and you don't have to worry about a battery. Pokemon's are, you know, these are always the good examples because these are always seem to be the ones that people need. But fun facts for your life. We can repair these for you too. If you have a game that you can't save anymore, we can pop one of these new bad boys in there. So yeah, that's just some of the basic things that I get asked almost every single day. If I miss something, or you can think of some other things that you would like to learn from the game store, leave it in the comments. Let me know. There might be a lot of stuff that I missed. I don't know. You know, I do this every day, so I don't really think about it too much. But, you know, if you're thinking about getting into retro gaming and have some questions, maybe I need to make a part 2. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Stay rad. Get your tickets for reallyradweekend.com. That's our gaming convention here in Fort Walton Beach, coming up November 2nd and 3rd. You can come meet all kinds of cool people. You want to meet Riff and Ricky from Pixel Game Squad, or maybe you want to meet the guy who did the voice of Duke Nukem, get him to sign all of your copies of Duke Nukem. You can do that. Or just hang out on the beach and play some video games. Do that. reallyradweekend.com. Thanks for watching, and stay rad.